John Deere has made a decision that is sending shockwaves through the American manufacturing industry. The company, known for its deep roots in American agriculture and industry, has announced plans to relocate a significant portion of its production to Mexico. This move has not only left thousands of American workers in distress, but has also ignited a fierce political battle, with former President Donald Trump at the center of the controversy. Trump's response? A fiery threat of a 200% tariff on any John Deere products manufactured in Mexico. The stakes are high, and the fallout from this decision could reshape the entire landscape of American manufacturing. To understand why this is such a big deal, we need to look at John Deere's place in American history. For decades, John Deere has been more than just a tractor company. It has symbolized American resilience, innovation, and self-reliance. Farmers across the country depend on its equipment, and the company itself has long been a pillar of the U.S. economy, particularly in states like Illinois and Iowa. That's why the news of its production shift has sparked outrage. Many see this move as a betrayal, a signal that even the most American of companies are willing to abandon the country in pursuit of lower costs. But why is John Deere making this move now? The company argues that this relocation is a necessary step for strategic growth. Manufacturing costs in the U.S. have been rising significantly, and companies across industries are constantly looking for ways to cut expenses and remain competitive. By shifting part of its production to Mexico, John Deere aims to reduce labor costs while taking advantage of Mexico's established manufacturing infrastructure. The company has also pointed out that the demand for compact construction equipment, such as mini track loaders and mini wheel loaders, is growing rapidly. By setting up a plant in Nuevo León, Mexico, John Deere hopes to better position itself to meet this demand while increasing efficiency. From a business standpoint, the move makes sense. But from a political and economic standpoint, it's a ticking time bomb. Thousands of workers in the U.S. are at risk of losing their jobs, especially in Illinois and Iowa, where John Deere has long been a major employer. Factories that have been operational for decades may see layoffs or even shutdowns, leaving families uncertain about their future. Workers have expressed their frustration, calling the move a betrayal of American labor. Many of them have spent years, sometimes entire careers, at John Deere, and now they're faced with the terrifying prospect of unemployment. John Deere, however, is trying to control the narrative. The company has defended its decision by pointing to its continued investments in U.S. factories. Since 2019, John Deere has pumped millions of dollars into its American facilities, arguing that it is not abandoning the country but rather optimizing its operations. The company insists that it remains committed to American manufacturing and that its decision to expand in Mexico is simply a strategic adjustment rather than a full-scale relocation. But these reassurances have done little to calm the outrage. Workers, unions, and political figures are demanding answers and action. Donald Trump, never one to stay silent on issues of American manufacturing, has responded with a thunderous warning. Speaking at a farming event in Smithton, Pennsylvania, Trump called John Deere's move unacceptable and threatened to impose a 200% tariff on any John Deere products manufactured in Mexico. This threat is a direct escalation of Trump's long-standing stance against outsourcing. Throughout his political career, Trump has positioned himself as a champion of American jobs, frequently targeting companies that move production overseas. His promise to impose tariffs on John Deere products is meant to discourage outsourcing by making it financially unfeasible. But Trump's response isn't just about John Deere. It's part of a larger fight over the future of American manufacturing. His stance has always been clear. Companies that take jobs out of the U.S. should be punished. This approach was a key part of his economic strategy during his presidency. And now, with an election looming, he's doubling down on his commitment to bring manufacturing jobs back to American soil. His supporters see this as a bold and necessary move to protect American workers. But critics argue that tariffs could backfire, potentially raising costs for consumers and harming the very industries they're meant to protect. As the political firestorm grows, John Deere is scrambling to manage the backlash. The company has released statements emphasizing that it is not abandoning the U.S. and that its decision to expand into Mexico is based purely on market demand. They are working hard to reassure stakeholders, farmers, investors, and employees that John Deere remains committed to its American workforce. However, public trust has already taken a hit, and damage control won't be easy. To make matters worse, the backlash isn't just coming from Trump and his supporters. Other prominent figures, including billionaire investor Mark Cuban, have weighed in on the situation. Cuban has openly criticized Trump's proposed tariffs, calling them insane, and warning that such drastic measures could do more harm than good. According to Cuban, punishing John Deere with tariffs could weaken the company, leading to unintended consequences like higher costs for American farmers who rely on its equipment. John Deere is now walking a tightrope. On one side, it has economic pressures pushing it toward Mexico. On the other, it faces a wave of public and political backlash that could seriously damage its reputation. With Trump threatening tariffs and public sentiment growing increasingly negative, John Deere may have to reconsider its decision, or at least find a way to soften the impact. The battle is far from over, and as tensions continue to rise, one thing is clear. The future of John Deere, American manufacturing, and the broader economy hangs in the balance. The implications of John Deere's decision extend far beyond a single company. This situation represents a much larger debate about the future of American manufacturing, the role of global trade, and the effectiveness of economic policies designed to keep jobs in the United States. If Trump's threatened 200% tariff on John Deere's Mexico-made products becomes a reality, it could send shockwaves throughout the manufacturing industry. For one, John Deere isn't the only company making moves like this. In recent years, many American businesses have expanded production into Mexico, China, and other countries with lower labor costs. The reasons are simple: cheaper wages, reduced operational costs, and fewer regulatory burdens. This allows companies to stay competitive in a global market where international manufacturers, particularly from China, India, and South Korea, are pushing aggressively into industries that were once dominated by American firms. The key question is, who really benefits from these decisions? On one hand, relocating production to Mexico allows John Deere to lower production costs, which, in theory, could lead to lower prices for consumers. American farmers, who are already struggling with rising costs of equipment, fuel, and maintenance, might actually benefit from cheaper John Deere products if manufacturing shifts abroad. If the company can maintain its profitability, it may even be able to invest more in research and development, bringing better technology to its customers. But on the other hand, there's a major downside. American workers pay the price. When jobs move offshore, communities that have relied on these manufacturing plants for generations suffer. The layoffs that result from these decisions can devastate entire towns, leading to increased unemployment, lower spending, and a domino effect that harms local economies. Once manufacturing jobs disappear, they rarely come back, and displaced workers often struggle to find employment that matches their skill set or pays as well as their previous jobs. If tariffs are imposed, another set of problems arises. A 200% tariff on John Deere's Mexican-made products wouldn't just hurt the company, it would have a ripple effect on American farmers who depend on the brand. A significant price hike on essential farming equipment could put a strain on farmers who are already dealing with fluctuating crop prices and economic uncertainty. Many of them might be forced to look at alternative brands such as Kubota, Japan, Mahindra, India, or CLAAS, Germany, which could provide similar machinery at lower costs. This could inadvertently give foreign competitors an advantage over an American-born company like John Deere. At the same time, Trump's stance against outsourcing raises a broader philosophical and economic question. Should the government intervene to keep jobs in America, even if it means disrupting the free market? Many of Trump's supporters argue that government intervention is necessary to prevent multinational corporations from abandoning American workers. However, others claim that imposing harsh tariffs or penalties on companies that offshore production could backfire, leading to trade wars, increased costs for consumers, and long-term damage to U.S. businesses. This also raises concerns about how far protectionist policies should go. If Trump successfully imposes a 200% tariff on John Deere, what's to stop him from doing the same to other companies that move production overseas? Could this lead to retaliatory measures from Mexico, China, or the European Union, further straining international trade relationships? Meanwhile, there's a growing call for alternative solutions to offshoring. Some economists suggest that instead of punishing companies with tariffs, the U.S. should focus on making domestic manufacturing more attractive. For example, by offering tax incentives to companies that keep jobs in America, investing in automation to reduce labor costs, and revamping education and job training programs to prepare workers for the modern economy. John Deere's decision, Trump's response, and the broader debate over tariffs and outsourcing all point to one undeniable truth. The battle over American manufacturing is far from over. Every year, companies must decide whether to keep jobs in the U.S. or move them elsewhere, and their choices have lasting consequences for workers, consumers, and the economy as a whole. Looking ahead, one of the biggest questions is how John Deere will respond to the pressure. Will the company reconsider its move to Mexico, or will it push forward despite the backlash? Will Trump's tariff threats materialize? And if so, what will be the consequences for both John Deere and the wider manufacturing industry? There's also the potential for escalation. If Trump follows through with his tariff threats, John Deere might retaliate by cutting even more American jobs or shifting additional production abroad to avoid political interference. At the same time, other companies are watching closely. If John Deere can successfully move production without major consequences, other U.S. manufacturers might follow suit, accelerating the trend of offshoring. There's also the political factor. With Trump's economic policies at the forefront of his political agenda, this issue could become a major talking point in upcoming elections. Will American voters support a hardline approach to tariffs, or will they push back against policies that might raise costs for consumers? As the situation unfolds, one thing remains clear. The debate over offshoring, tariffs, and the future of American jobs is only just beginning. What happens next with John Deere could set the tone for the next decade of U.S. manufacturing policy. The question now is, will American companies put profits first, or will they prioritize American workers?